Hello everybody, today we are doing lesson 3.5, which is on combining like terms. So first thing we need to learn is what a term is, and then we'll go over what like terms are. So let's write down a definition for term. A term is a constant or a variable raised to a power. So it could even be the power of 1, which would not really be any power on there. Or the product, so remember product means multiplication, the product of a constant and a variable. I'm just going to put variables, okay? So next one is what like terms are. So if you didn't get that all written down, we're going to go over what these really are. But if you didn't get it all written down, just hit pause and write them down. Okay, like terms are terms that have the same variable. With the same exponent. That's very important. We'll talk about that in a minute. Okay, so now let's talk about if you need to go ahead and pause it to finish that, then go ahead. Okay, we're going to write out an expression. Okay, remember expressions are just with the constants and variables. So if I have this expression, 3x minus 4y plus 5x, let's talk about what the terms are. So we're talking about the word terms here. So the terms are each one of these parts of the expression, okay? So they have constants and variables in them. Okay, so if I asked you what the terms were, you would write down that they are 3x, negative 4y, and 5x. Notice that when we have a minus sign, we always just interpret that as a negative in algebra. Okay, so these are the terms. Now, if I asked you what the like terms were, that means the terms that have the same variable. They do not have the same constant. They don't have to have the same constant, but they do have the same variable. So remember, constants, we talked about that in the last few lessons, are the numbers in the front. So 4, 5, even 3, those are constants, right? Okay, so let me erase that. I don't want that on there the whole time. So when I say the variables have to be the same to be like terms, then that means that my 3x and my 5x both have x's, right? So those are my like terms. The 4y is not a like term because it does not have an x. Okay, so let's put some of this into action. We're going to combine the like terms. So we're going to be adding and subtracting them. Okay, so example 1. Let me pick a different color. Okay, example 1. They want you to combine 3x plus 5x. Okay, so when we combine like terms, when we're adding or subtracting, we are only going to add or subtract the constants in the front. So we're going to do 3 plus 5 is 8, and your variable stays the same. So my answer for this one is 8x. Okay, do not put 8 squared. One of the things that I tell my kids every year is that they need to learn two very important things, and that is that x plus x is 2x, and x times x is x squared. In fact, I put this as an extra credit sometimes on tests because I have so many kids get it wrong. And so remember, these are two different problems. X plus x, this one, gives you 2x. The x times x gives you x squared. Two different problems. So over here, we're doing x plus x. So we're just going to keep it x, okay? So over here, you could think of this as 1x plus 1x is 2x. Okay, let's go on to example 2. That was a pretty easy example, right? They're going to get a little bit harder now. Okay, sometimes it will say combine like in the first example, and sometimes it will say simplify. They're pretty much the same thing. Okay, so this looks like the one kind of that I did a minute ago to show you what like terms are, only we changed around some of the pluses and minuses. Okay, so on this one, we're going to take our like terms, which are 3x and 5x, actually negative 5x, and we're going to put those together. The 4y will stay by itself because it doesn't have a like term to add to it. So when I put 3x minus 5x, or you could say 3 plus negative 5, right? That's going to give me negative 2x. And that is simplifying that expression. Okay, I'd ask if y'all had any questions, but I can't ask y'all that right now since y'all are not here with me. Okay, let's go on to example 3. Hopefully you're understanding what we're doing here. As we keep doing more and more and more, I think it will get easier and easier and easier. Okay, simplify. Again, just using that word simplify, same thing as combining like terms. We're going to have 7x squared plus 8x minus 4x squared plus 10x. Okay, now this one gets a little bit more complicated, but it's still super easy to do these problems. What I'm going to do is find my like terms. Now remember, your like terms had to have the same variables, and all of these have x's. But the other thing is they had to have the same exponents. So if I'm looking for which one matches up with the 7x squared, that would be the 4x squared, negative 4x squared. Okay, they do not go with these other ones. 8x would go with the 10x, okay, because those have the same exponent, which is 1. So I'm going to take the ones that I underlined in blue. Those are like terms, and I'm going to add them. So 7x squared minus 4x squared is 3x squared. Then I'm going to take the ones I underlined in green, the 8x and the 10x, and I'm going to add those, and I get 18x. Now, I put them in different colors for this example so that you could see which ones were the like terms, okay? I won't always do that. So my answer to this, simplifying this problem, is 3x squared plus 18x. Okay, let's move on to, let's talk a little bit about how I want your problems arranged, and that is in descending order. Descending order. That means that when you have exponents, you start with the biggest one. So you would go like x to the third, and then you would go x squared, and then you would go x. So that's why in the one above, I did the 3x squared first, and then the x. So make sure that when you're writing your answers out, that you put them in descending order. Okay, let's have you try one on your own. This one's probably going to be just a little bit harder, but I think that y'all have enough down now where you can figure out how to do it on your own. Okay, so we're going to simplify 2x plus 4y minus 8x plus 3z minus 5y. Okay, hit pause and combine your like terms on this one. Okay, hopefully you're back. You've got this figured out. So I'm going to underline. I always do this for my lessons. You can do it if it helps you, but you don't have to do it. I underline my like terms. So 2x and negative 8x will go together. 4y and 5y will go together. And the 3z is just going to stay by itself. Now remember, we talked about descending order. That's also in our alphabetical order. So we have x, y's, and z's. So we're going to do x's first. Okay, the x is 2x minus 8x. So that's going to be negative 6x. Then I have 4y. So now I'm going to do my y's. 4y minus 5y is negative 1y, which I can just write as minus y. And then last is the z, which is already there. Okay, if you got this, then you did it right. Okay, some of y'all may have, yours may look a little bit different. So let me show you a few things on this problem that you may have changed. So some of y'all, when you're doing your negatives, you might go through and change minus to plus a negative, like on these two, and that's perfectly okay. Then when you do that, okay, you still get the negative 6x, but you may have written your minus y like this, negative 1y. That's okay too. I will count it right. Nothing will be wrong. I'm just showing you the way that it's normally written. So in your answers, it's going to be written as minus y. And that is the same as plus a negative 1y. So don't think, oh no, I got it wrong. You didn't get it wrong. You just wrote it a different way. Okay, so you might want to get used to writing it the correct way, but if you don't, that's okay. It's the same thing. Okay, hopefully y'all all got that one right. Let's skip over to example 5, which we still have a few more left to do. Okay, so this one's a little bit harder. Simplify. Okay, we have 4x squared y plus 5xy minus 10x squared y plus 22xy minus 8x plus y. Okay, if you think you can do it, go ahead and hit pause and try it. But I'm going to go through this with y'all. You don't have to. If you got the one above it wrong, you might need to listen to this one. Okay, remember, variables and exponents have to be exactly the same. So this one has another one that is exactly the same. Look at the last part, that x squared y. That's the part you want to make sure is the same. And then when you're adding or subtracting, you're just doing the front numbers. And another thing that helps you out with knowing which order they go in is if you just follow the problem with doing the first one with its like term and then the second one with its like term, then you'll be in the right order. Okay, so if I do 4 minus 10, or 4 plus negative 10, I get negative 6x squared y. So remember, that part that I have all underlined a whole bunch of times, that's going to stay the same, x squared and y. Remember, you can use calculators right now. So if you don't know what 4 minus 10 is, then you need to put it in your calculator, okay? Next part is 5xy. So the other one that matches that is 22xy. When I put those together, I get 27xy. And then I have two more sitting over here by themselves that do not match up with anything. So I'm just going to write those down. If you forget to write those down, your problem's wrong. So make sure that you remember those ones that even don't have like terms. Okay, that was example 5. Okay, example 6 is similar in difficulty. I don't know, maybe the 6 is easier. So I'm going to have y'all try it on your own. Okay, example 6, you're going to simplify. It does have a lot of terms in here. Remember, we were talking about what constitute terms. So if I ignore this for a minute and go back up to here, and I want it to know the number of terms, okay, I would count this as, pull it down a little bit. Come on. Okay, this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this one has 6 terms. Okay, so each separated by pluses and minuses is a term. So this one's going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 terms also. Okay, 8x cubed minus x squared plus x cubed plus 4x cubed minus x squared plus 6x cubed. Okay, before you start, because I want you to hit pause, remember if it does not have a number in front of the x, the number is 1. Okay, so you need to go ahead and hit pause and answer all of these. Put them together. Okay, now that you're back, we have a lot of like terms in this one. It's not just 2 of them. So we have x cubed here, an x cubed here, an x cubed here, an x cubed here. So I have to put all of those together. So I have 8 plus 1 plus 4 plus 6. So that's 9 plus 4 more is 13 plus 6 more is 19 x cubed. And then I could put together my x squares. Okay, it's a minus or negative 1 and another minus or negative 1. So think of those as negative 1 plus negative 1. That's the easiest way to do these. Just think of it all as plus and that the minus signs are negative. So that means I get a negative 2x squared. Notice I wrote it as a minus 2x squared. That's what the negative means, is that I'm minusing. So there's my answer. It's 19x cubed minus 2x squared. Okay, only one more example, and then you get to start your work and see if you can figure this out. Let's do a purple. We haven't done a purple. Okay, example 7 is to simplify. Okay, here's the problem. 2x squared y plus xy squared plus 4x squared yz minus 3xyz. Okay, in this problem, we are looking for things that match, right? The like terms. So if I looked for an x squared and a y, none of these other ones, here's an x squared and a y, but it also has a z on it. So those do not match. Okay, none of these match with that first one. So that means the first one's just going to stay there, right? Okay, what about the second one? Do I have anything that matches an xy squared? No, I don't. So that one's going to stay the same. And then if I look at the next one, this one that I underlined a whole bunch, x squared yz, I don't have any that match that either. So in this problem, I did not have any that matched up. There were no like terms. So it actually just stays the same problem. Okay, so they were trying to trick you there and make sure that you knew which ones were like terms, and they had no like terms on that one. That happens sometimes, but very rarely. So if they're telling you to simplify and finding like terms, you're probably going to have like terms. Okay, that's it for today, and I will see y'all next time for lesson 3.6.